Hey folks, it's Kurt again, and we're back in our lesson on how to use the challenge connection to host your challenge. And this next lesson is a little bit more involved in the way that you think about it, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that I built this in for you. And so I'm going to show you how to do this now in a done for you example. Say, if you're in our middle, if you're on our middle plan or our premium plan, we have a setup that we do for you where we ask about this in our worksheet. But if you're building this on your own, I want you to know that the tool exists and how to use it. And so here's what we do. I will go in and share this screen with you. Okay. And now you should be seeing that we're in day one, activity one, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to, what they call drip the content. That means release the content on a schedule that makes sense for your activities. So for instance, let's say you've got a 5-activity site, like what we used for our example, but it's like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. But let's say it's a 5-week plan, right? Let's say you're reading a book, or let's say that you're teaching people how to use the 5-minute journal, right? You're going to say, hey, Monday is the start of week 1. Next Monday is the start of week 2. Next Monday is the start of week 3. And you don't want people to go ahead of the program. You want to be able to lock that content until that date arrives. I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go up here. Now, each of these activities, remember, a challenge is where you're teaching somebody something, right? So I have this labeled as a lesson. So we want to edit the lesson. You see that at the top of your black bar? You're going to edit the lesson. And this is going to open up, kind of that back-end editor that the front-end editor lets you avoid in most situations. But let's say that you go into the back-end editor. Here's the course. And if you wanted to make changes, let's say you want to change, you want to change an image, you can have access to change the images that are in the things. Now, as we page down, we'll see lesson settings. And here's, general. I could put in a YouTube video that shows up automatically inside the activity. I could have prerequisites, right? Make sure that someone finishes day 1 before they go to day 2. Make sure that someone finishes day 4 before they go to day 5, right? That makes sense. So I could set prerequisites there, or I could set these drip settings. And these drip settings to me is kind of the key to unlock things. So for day 1, we say, by default, it's none. Just so you know, by default, people can access all the activities, right? So if I say the method, none. Now, remember we said that the challenge was going to start on January 15th. So I say I want to start on a specific date. And then I go to date available. And I'm going to say I want to start on January 15th, 2021, right? So now I've got that. And let's be nice. Let's pick a time that makes sense, right? It says let's do the 12 a.m., right? So let's do the 12 ... space a.m. You'll see here in the directions, it shows you exactly how you have to format your time, okay? So I'm going to say, boom, done. Now, whenever I make a change in this side of the website, it's really important that I click update, okay? Now, when I click update, that locks that lesson out, locks it out until January 15th, 2021. Now, the next thing to do, I've hit update. Now what I want to do is I want to change the drip setting for the next day, right? Now, we haven't edited day 2 yet. So let's go back to, and this seems like I'm going to take the long way around, okay? But I'm going to go to activity 2 right here, okay? And I'm going to say edit. And there's different ways to get to this. If you aren't comfortable working in the back end of your website, you can go right to the front end again, go right to your course, go to activity 2 and hit edit lesson again. And that'll take you right back down to that same screen, okay? So we haven't altered this one yet, right? So it still says activity 2 instead of day 2. We didn't put anything over our text holder. We didn't change out the challenge connection logo. We didn't do any of that. What we're focusing on is these drip settings. Now, remember the first one I set up for January 15th. So now I go into drip settings and I say, after course enrollment, after prerequisite completion. So do I want to launch on a specific date? I could do that. I could go in here and I could put January 16th, right? And that would be boom, boom, boom. But do I want someone to skip day one's exercise because they missed that day and go right to day two without doing day one? Or do I want to make sure that they do day one's activity? Is it more important that they're on the same day as you, or is it more important that they complete the activities in succession? That's something for you to point out, something for you to figure out on your end of it, right? So I'm going to say, instead of a specific date, I'm going to say after prerequisite completion. And I'm going to say the date delay would be 1 day. And then what I need to do is I need to go to prerequisites. And in prerequisites, I need to choose over here to activate the prerequisite. Did you see that button? I activated the prerequisite, and it says select a prerequisite lesson. And that lesson is day one. Does that make sense? So what I've done is lesson one, day one, starts January 15th. Day two starts January 16th, provided the user has already done day one's task. Are you with me? So if they didn't do day one's task, when they go to sign into day two, it's going to say you need to complete day one first. When they complete day one, I set it up so that it would be 1 day after they complete day one. Now let's say you don't care if there's a day in between day one and day two. You're okay if they do day one and day two on the same day to catch up to the rest of the group. If that's your thinking, that's fine. Then what you want to do is you want to go here and say 0 days. So that means they're going to do the prerequisite and then with no delay be able to get in and do day two. Okay. And if that's the case, you could even skip the whole deal and say you don't really care about the drip setting for days. You really just want to make sure they do the prerequisites. I'm kind of putting a lot out there at you at once. So let me go over this one more time. The drip settings allow you to put in a delay of time based on date or duration, right? So I could say, do the prerequisite completion and then wait 7 days, wait a week, right? If I'm doing like a week 1, week 2, week 3 kind of thing, we could do that, right? We could say on a specific date. So I could say, okay, well, if that one was open on January 15th, this one will be open on January 16th. And I still have the prerequisite that they need to do the day one course, right? So they have the prerequisite of having to do the day one course, and they have to wait till January 16th to be able to do the day two course. So hopefully what you're seeing here is that you are in absolute control of how people access the challenge, when they access the challenge, and the order in which they access the challenge. And so those were things that I really wanted to point out to you. Now, again, anytime you make any changes in this side of the website, you want to go up here to hit update. Once you hit update, that'll take you right back to where you were in your edit screen. But if you wanted to preview what that lesson looks like, you could preview that, or you could just go over here to your icon at the upper left, click that. That'll take you back to your dashboard. And then from the dashboard, you can go to visit the site. And remember, your dashboard is much more limited in its options. I took a lot of the distractions out for you and just tried to make this as simple as possible. If you are having any difficulty in updating your site or doing the settings in your site, know that we've got support available. Go ahead and hit the contact link on the challengeconnection.com website, right? So go to challengeconnection.com, hit the contact link, and you can access our support that way. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I wish you the best on your challenge. You can see this is starting to turn into a thing, right? All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.